A very good morning to one and all. And in today's class, I am going to explain about Murray machine, and especially this class is for the section one students because for those these topics are not covered. So I am explaining what the Murray machine is and what the Mealy machine and how to convert from Murray machine and Mealy machine and Mealy to Murray. And for the section two students, this is a revision class. Please listen all of you. This is the second time I am explaining the concept of this Murray and Mealy machine. You all please take it as a revision class for the section 2 students, and please make a note of each and everything what it is an important note that I am explaining you in this class, and also do practice when I am making you to understand with an examples, right? And section 1 students, please clearly learn what the concept of Murray machine is and what the concept of Mealy machine is and how to convert from Murray to Mealy and Mealy to Murray, right? And let's go into the topic. And today it is the concept is Murray machine. I'm starting with an Murray machine concept. And here what is an Murray machine? And this Murray machine and Mealy machines are the types of the finite state machines, right? And as well as we already learned about the NFA and DFA, and we know what the NFA and DFA is. Those are the types of the machines, and NFA and DFA comes under the types of finite automatas, as well as we know how to convert from epsilon NFA to NFA and from NFA to DFA. So these are the concepts that are already covered in the unit 1, under unit 1. And now I'm going to cover the last two concepts, that is Murray machine and the Mealy machine. And these are the two types of machines we are having, and these are also from the family of the finite state machine. And here how we can say that it is an Murray machine and how we can say that it is an Mealy machine. And to say that it is an Murray, we need to know what the definition of the Murray machine is. And to say that it is an Mealy, we know that what the definition of the Mealy machine it is. And before going to define what the Murray machine, just I'm recalling what the definition of NFA and what the definition of DFA is. Once please all of you recall what the definition of the finite automatas, that two finite automatas, that is an NFA and DFA. And DFA it is a deterministic finite automata and NFA it is an non-deterministic finite automata. While defining the two finite automatas, the definition is same, right? The definition, the formal definition and the mathematical definition for the both finite automatas are same. But where we are getting the difference between the two finite automatas at the transition del, right? So there when we are mapping with a transition function, while coming to the DFA it is q mapping with, that is q mapping with sigma is q, and while coming to NFA, q mapping with sigma is 2 power q. That's the most important difference between the DFA and the NFA, right? And just I'm recalling uh, to make you remember what the definitions of the DFA and the NFA is. And same as here, while coming to the definitions of the Murray machine and the Mealy machine, here also we're having a formal definition for this. And formal definition means it is a mathematical definition. And from this mathematical definition, what we are going to define here is, and always we are defining the definitions mathematically with an tuples, right? Coming to the DFA and NDFA, there we defined with an 5 tuples machine, and here it is an 6 tuple machine. That's the difference. Here we're having another extra tuple, and I will explain what that tuple is, right? And here, before going to learn about the 6 tuples, and I need to make you to understand that and how we're deciding the current state. That means uh, how we're deciding the output state here, right? And actually in any finite state machines, how we're going to decide, and only we're deciding the next state totally depending upon the current state and its current input symbol, right? So here that is same for the finite state machines, but here we're adding an another symbol, that is an output symbol. That means the output symbol at a given time that depends only on the present state of the machine, right? Then it decides that whether it is an Murray machine or it is an Mealy machine. So coming to the 6 tuples, how to describe the 6 tuples means, what the 6 tuples are means q again. Q, we already know what the q it is. Q is an finite set of states. A non-empty finite set of states is an q. and q naught, as well as always the q naught is an initial state of the machine. And sigma always it defines a non-empty finite set of input symbols. And here we're having another new symbol, that is an o, where o is an output alphabet. O is an output alphabet. And coming to the next symbol, that is an transition function del. And del is a transition function where it always maps with the number of states with an input alphabet. The state with an input alphabet, it gives an output in the form of an state. That means current state with an current input gives an next state. Right? Like that. And then lambda, here also we're having another tuple, that is an lambda. What the lambda is? Output function. That means always it maps with map, means it always make an indication that the state is always an output. That means the state with an output symbol is an output mapping function. It does not maps with any other symbols, only it shows that q is q tends to O. Q tends to O is Q is always an output. I think you all understand what the six tuples of the Moore machine is, and this is the mathematical definition or the formal definition of the Moore machine. To define what the Moore machine is, just by describing with these six tuples, you can define that it is an Moore machine. Right? Is it clear to you all? And here, and from the starting of the Moore machine, as I already said, that every finite state machine, how we can decide the next state means, in every finite state machine we're deciding the next state with its current state along with its current input symbol. Right? That's the mapping that we need to check it out for deciding out what the next state is. And coming to the Moore machine, here we need to depend upon the output symbol also. Right? Depending upon the output symbol as well as its present state of the machine, we can say that whether it is an Moore machine or it is an Mealy machine. And this is a formal definition. And now I will show you how to draw the Moore machines. See, this is a state diagram of the Moore machine. This is a state diagram for the Moore machine. And here the state diagram consisting of three states, Q0, Q1 and Q2, where Q0 is an initial state. That means I define Q as with three states and input alphabets with 0 and 1, and initial state is an Q0. And now I need to know what the output alphabets is. For the Moore machines, where we are writing the output alphabets means at the place of states. Wherever we are writing the states, there, just by separating with an bar like this, we are writing the output alphabet for that state. What it means is, this is an output alphabet for the Q naught. That means 1 is an output for the Q naught. Wherever you see the Q naught, the output for the Q naught is 1. And this is an 1 for the Q1. That means wherever you see the Q1, the output for the Q1 is 1. And for the Q2, the output alphabet is 0. And what it means is, wherever you see the Q2, the output of the Q2 is 0. So like that, you need to check it out. And by seeing this diagram, you can easily understand that whether it is an Moore machine, whether it is an Moore machine or an Mealy machine. Right? And it is an Moore machine means, how can I say that it is an Moore machine means, when the output alphabet is with an state. That means when the output alphabet is represented with an state means that is an Moore machine. Right? That means in the circle at the place of states, if you represent the output alphabet just by separating with an slash like this, then it can say that it is an Moore machine. In Moore machines, finally we are having the output state, not for each and every input, only for the state we are having the output alphabet. Right? So these are now we get what the output alphabets are, and we get what the states are, and we get what the initial state, and we get what the input alphabets are. Now we need to check it out, the transition mapping function del. Del means state with the input is an state. Right? And then after that, you need to check it out, the output mapping function. Right? So we here from the diagram, we're having the transition paths from state to state with the input alphabets. That means the transitions that are taken place from state to state with an input alphabets like this. And now coming to the transition table, how to draw the transition table for the Moore machine is, and first initially you need to write the current states. How many states we're having? Q0, Q1 and Q2. right? And then you need to write the input alphabet 0 and 1, right? Input alphabets 0 and 1. These zeros and ones decides the next state. That's why we're putting it is in transition mapping function del, right? And then we're having the output alphabet, that is output function with an lambda, right? And from the diagram it is clearly shown that the state with the state with input goes to which state? That means q naught with 0 goes to which state? Q naught with 0 goes to q1, right? Q naught with 1 goes to q2, and q1 with 0 goes to q1. Where is q1? Q1 with 0 goes to q2, and q1 with 1 goes to q1. Same as q2 with 0 goes to q2, q2 with 1 goes to q naught. So here we did an transition mapping function. Now we need to fill the output function del lambda. And output function lambda means here from the diagram itself we are having an output alphabets for each and every state. Q naught, its output alphabet is 1, so we need to write 1 here. For q1 its output alphabet is 1, so you need to write 1 here. For q2 the output alphabet is 0, so you need to write 0 here. So this can be called it as an a Murray machine diagram along with its transition table. So here we were having an important note, that what the important note is, and we need to decide the acceptance of the string. That means acceptance of the string means here we're having a note for the Murray machine. What the note it is, I am giving an input, and I first, after taking an input, what I need to do is I need to write down the length of that input. I need to define the length of that input. So, and after deciding the length of the input, and here this is an class session, not your personal chat session. Please, who is number A2? Seriously, I am telling the class, but you are seriously doing the chat. Actually, for the finite state machines, after taking an input in the form of a diagram and drawing the transition tables, if you need to check it out whether the strings are acceptable or not, how we're doing? How we're doing that? We're, we're checking, we're starting with an initial state, and by reading an one by one word from the string, and after reading the last word from the string, whether if the the output of the word gives an final state means, then we are saying that it is an acceptance, right? Otherwise we are saying that it is an not acceptable string. But here how to do the acceptance of the strings in Murray machine means, depending on the length of the input and length of the output, we are deciding that whether it is a Murray machine acceptance or a Mealy machine acceptance. And here what the note for this Murray machine is, the output length of the Murray machine, whatever the string that we are taking, and after checking out, after doing the processing or to do processing of the acceptance, and finally you get an string from that. And that means where from where we are getting means, we are taking the output alphabets for each and every state, and finally we are getting the output as an output alphabet string, right? So what we need to do here is we need to check it out whether the output length, that means the output string length for a Murray machine is greater than the input string length by 1. That means if I am taking n as an input, then finally after doing the transitions, my output should be n plus 1. That means if it is 2 means 2 plus 1. The length should be 2 plus 1. That means it is to be 3, like that. You need to check it out like that. And finally after checking whether it gives the greater length of the input by 1, then we can say that it is an acceptance by acceptable Murray machine, right? Just see how we can do this means, here we're having an example, and from the above machine only I'm taking this, and here just I'm taking the input 0 1 0. Actually the length of the input is 3, right? But to satisfy that, to make an acceptance, what the output I need to get, 3 plus 1, that is 4. The length should be 4 for my output, right? So now I'm doing the transitions. I'm starting with an q naught. Q naught with 0 goes to q1, but what the output of the q naught is 1, right? Output of the q naught is 1. And now here I am writing 1, and now I need to check it out. Q1 with 1, and Q1 with 1 is Q2, and here also Q1 I am having the output 1, so I am writing 1. And Q2, again I get Q1 with 1 is Q1, so again for the Q1 it is 1, right? So Q1 with 0 it is Q2, and for the Q2 the output is 0. So so by counting here I'm having 0, 1, 1, 0. That means finally what the output that I get here, 1, 1, 1, 0. That means what the length of my output string is, 4. Actually the input string length is 3. So here it was satisfied the condition of my Murray machine. So it is an acceptable string. And in this way we need to check it out how to do the acceptance just by showing the transitions by taking an input like this, and after getting an output, by after checking out the length of the output, you need to show that the output length for a Murray machine is greater than the input length. Right, it is clear to you all. This is the way of representing a transition diagram as well as a transition table and checking out the string acceptance just by knowing the lengths of the input and the length of the output, checking out whether the condition gets satisfied or not. What the condition is here, the output length for a Murray machine is greater than the input length by 1. Is it clear? And see, and another example here we're having. This is example number 2. And now my question is to design here directly. I'm having a question, and what the question is design a Murray machine to generate one's complement of a given binary number. That means my question is to design. I need to design my own transition diagram, and then after that I need to represent the transition table. Then after that I need to check it out whether the Murray machine condition is get satisfied or not. And here what the question is, design a Murray machine to generate one's complement of a given binary numbers. Binary numbers means we already know zeros and ones are the binary numbers. And here uh, now you need to start the solution for this question. And binary numbers means zeros and ones. Here what you need to generate, ones complements of the binary numbers, right? And to generate the ones complement of the given binary numbers, here we are having a simple logic. What the simple logic is, if the input is 0 then the output will be 1, right? For these types of machines we are taking the both input alphabet and the output alphabet, right? And up to the finite automatons like in DF and NFA, there we need not bother about the output alphabet. We are not having the output alphabet there, not there. Only we are having initial state, final state, and a set of states with NQ and input alphabets and the transition mapping function for NFA and DFA. But while coming to the Murray and Mealy machines, here we need to bother about another alphabet, that is an output alphabet. So every time when we need to talk about an input, we also need to talk about the output also here, right? So just I need to make a logic for this question, and what the logic is, for example, if I take an input 0 means here to generate an one's complement, right? So if my input is 0 then automatically the output is 1. If the input is 1 then automatically the output is 0. What that mean is, here there are, I am making an assumption that here I am having 3 states, right? If one state is a start state and then the second state is taking an zeros as an input, then whenever it takes the zeros as an input, then it should produces the output as an 1, right? So the third state is for taking the 1 means, for third state I am making a transition with an 1 means, then that it should produce an 0 as an output, right? Is it clear? And this is a logic that I have framed from the given question, and now I am implementing this just by drawing the state diagram like this, right? Initially my starting state is in Q 0. Here I make an assumption that I am having in 3 states, Q 0, Q1 and Q2. And with these three states and how the Murray machine was designed, let's see. And now if I'm giving an input, then I need to produce an output 0. If I'm giving an 0, then I need to, that means if I'm giving an input 0, then I need to produce an output 1. Is it clear now? Initially it is on 0. Initially it is on 0. And now see, I'm giving an input 1, then the output is 0. Then I'm giving an input 0 to Q1, then the output is 1. Right? And here I can also make an self in the sense I'm giving an input 0, the output is 1. I'm giving an input 0, the sorry, input 1, the output is 0. Right? So here we get satisfied with the question that we need to generate an ones complement for the binary strings, binary numbers. Here, but the binary numbers are zeros and ones are the binary numbers. And after framing the logic, just I designed and machine Murray machine from that logic. Then I get satisfied with that, because if the input is 0, I need to produce output 1. If the input is 1, I need to produce an output 0. So I'm giving an input 0 to the Q1 from Q0. I produce 1 as an output. I'm giving 0 as an input to the, 1 as an input to the Q2. Then I produce 0 as an output. Right? Is it clear now? So initially for the starting state, I am taking the 0 as an output. I am producing 0 because I'm not taking any inputs from any other states. Right? Only I'm giving an input, either it may be 0 or either it may be 1. So I am producing an output 0. And now after designing the Murray machine, then you need to draw the transition table like this. And this is a transition table. And from the transition table, that means transition table means here I'm not having the transition table. Right, here we are having the transition table. Three states, right? Q0, Q1, Q2. 0 and 1 are the input alphabets, right? Q0 is having itself 0 as an output, Q1 is having itself 1 as an output, Q2 is having itself 0 as an output. So if you see the diagram is, then you can easily understand this. See here, see Q, for Q0 it is 0, Q1 it is 1, Q2 it is 0, right? So now you need to fill the transitions del. Q0 with 0 goes to which state, Q0 with 1 goes to which state, Q1 with 0 goes to which state, like that. You need to fill out like this. Q0 with 0 goes to Q1, Q0 with 1 goes to Q2, Q1 with 0 goes to Q1, Q1 with 1 goes to Q2, and Q2 with 0 goes to Q1, and Q2 with 1 goes to Q2. But no transitions are made with an Q0. Only we are giving an, there is a transition from Q0 to other states, but with other states to Q0, we are not having any transition, right? So this is clear. This is the representation of the transition diagram. Transition table from the transition diagram. Now let's check it out whether it is an Murray machine or not. And just by taking a string like this, and just it is an instance of just I am taking the string like from the starting state 1011, right? 1011. Now I am reading with the starting state of my states Q0. Q0 with 1 goes to Q2, but Q0 is having an output 0, right? Q2 with 0 goes to Q1, and Q2 is also having an output 0, right? Q2 is also having an output 0. Q2 with 0 goes to Q1. Q1 is having an output 1. Q1 with 1 goes to Q2. Q2 is having an output 0. Like that, Q2 with 1. Another one is there here in the input, right? But here it was Q2, just make an assumption that Q2 with 1 is an Q2 with 1, it is Q2, right? And the output of Q2 is 0. So finally, our input is 1011. That is the length of the input string is 4. Then after doing the transition, finally what the output is 00100. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The output length is 5. So input length is 4 and the output length is 5. Totally we satisfied the condition of the Murray machine. That is the output length of the Murray machine is greater than or equal to the input length. Right, greater than, sorry, not greater than or equal to, is always should be greater than 1. It should greater than 1. That means n plus 1 greater than the input length. Is it clear? Is it clear to you all? And this is the way of designing the Murray machine and representing in transition tables, and as well as checking out the instances whether it is an Murray machine satisfying the Murray machine condition or not. Right? Is it clear? Any doubts to anyone? If you have any doubts, you can ask, please. And this is the concept of Murray machine. This is a concept of an Murray machine concept, and designing and Murray machines, and representing and transition diagrams, as well as checking out the acceptance of the conditions of the Murray machine. That's the things I explained up to now. I think you all understand. Please make a note of this example. Make a note of this example. It is clear to you all. If you have any doubts, you can please ask, message in the chat box. I'll reply to your question. Any doubts to anyone? Any one of you please respond to my question. Is it clear? Any doubts to anyone? Input states and output states means, see here, only in the Murray machines, in these types of two machines, we're having the output alphabets. In further, in example number 2, okay, in further concepts, or whatever the concept that we already learned, or whatever the concept that we need to learn, in those concepts we're not having any output alphabet, right? Only in the concept of these machines, these types of two machines, we're having the output alphabet. And how to choose an input alphabet and output alphabet means, in the given question we're having a binary numbers. See here, design a Murray machine to generate one's complement of a given binary numbers. Binary numbers means, from the question we're having an input 0 and 1 are the binary numbers, right? Only zeros and ones are the binary numbers. As we already know what the binary numbers means, zeros and ones are the binary numbers, right? And input is from the given question that was already given in the question, and we taken from the given question that from the binary numbers, given binary numbers. So binary numbers are the inputs, zeros and ones are the inputs. And what we need to generate here, always we need to generate an ones complement, right? And keep aside of that condition. And first you need to know how to take the output alphabets, and now I get input alphabets, and then I need to know how to get an output alphabets. Output alphabets means we need to represent, whenever we represent the output alphabets at the state, then it consider it is an output alphabet. Or else at the transition, if you are having any symbol means, at the path transition if you are having any symbol means, it can be considered as an input alphabet. And at the states, at the place of the state representation, if you put any 0 or 1 just with separating with a slash means, it comes under an output alphabet, right? And now we need to define the output alphabets for these three states. And from the given question, now I am taking the condition to generate one's complement. One's complement means what? If we are having 0, the complement of 0 is 1. if you are having 1, the one complement of 1 is 0. That means how we can say that it is an invert. If invert 0 means, if you take 0 as an input means the output you need to produce as an 1. If you take in 1 as an input means the output you need to produce as an 0, like that. It is a complement. Here we need to generate the complement. So by satisfying that logic, and here we take the three states, and you need to make the transitions between the three states, and you need to define the output of the states. So initially my starting state, I am not taking any uh, transitions from other states, only I am giving the transition like this, transitions to the other states, not I'm taking the transition from any other state. That means I'm not getting hit by any other states. That means arrow hitting is not there, only giving is there from the q naught. So q naught is an initial state. From the q naught I need to do the transitions, right? So I need to do the transition means I need to do the transitions with the both input alphabet 0 and 1. So if I take 0 as an input means I need to produce an output 1. So when I am doing the transition from q naught to 0, here further state it should be 1 as an output. If I am doing the transition from 1 with the other state like in q2, and it should produce an 0. That means here I am implementing my logic. By giving an input 1, I am producing output 0. By giving an input 0, I am producing an output 1. Same as like that. So q naught with zeros and ones, it is completed. Now coming to q1 with 0, just I am doing a self transition with the q1 with 0 is q1, because if I made 0 with q1 means the output is should be 1. To satisfy that condition, already I gave 1 as an output for the q1. You only should take one alphabet, not more than one, to define the output alphabets for each and every state, right? So q1 it is 1. So q1 it is 1, q1 the output it is 1, just I made when I did with an q naught, right? So now I am doing the self with an 0, then I get satisfied with this condition. Now to get satisfied with this, I need to do a transition from q2 with 0. So it is completed up to here. Now from q1 with 1, I am doing a transition with q2, because already q2 I gave the output alphabet 0. So when I'm giving an input 1 from the q1, I get satisfied with this. And so already I did with an 0, I did with an I get an 1. Now I need to do the self with 1, self transition for the q2 with 1, because my output is 0 here, right? So in this way I completed the complement. I generate and complement for the binary numbers for the both input alphabets as well as output alphabet. To get satisfied the both input and output alphabet, I choose this machine. And now I need to decide which output alphabet I need to take, whether to 1 or whether to 0. 0 as an output alphabet for the q naught. Q naught is an initial state, I need to start with, and 0 as an output alphabet, right? So just I'm taking the 0 as an output alphabet for the q naught. Is it clear? So this is the way of uh, designing an Murray machine, and just by giving the input alphabets as well as an output alphabets. Is it clear? Those are not states, those are the alphabets, input alphabet and the output alphabet. Or we can call it as an input symbol and output symbol. States are always should be q1, q naught, q2, or capital A, capital B, capital C, like that. Only inputs are in the form of small a, small b, zeros and ones, like that. Is it clear, number LE5? Okay, then. Now let's see an Mealy machine. Now the Murray is completed. Now see the Mealy machine. same thing, same tuples that we're having here for the formal definition of the Mealy machine also, and just only an difference between an output mapping function. Only a difference between an output mapping function here. The both just a difference at output function. The remaining 6 tuples are same here. While comparing with the both Murray and Mealy, the remaining 6 tuples are same as the thing. And here always the output is represented with input symbol for each state. But in Murray, the output depends on the present state, not with an input symbol, right? But here the output is represented. We need to represent an output with each input symbol for each state. For each state Q naught, for the input 0, you need to define this output also, like that. Not at last, at each and every input state you need to define its output, right? And what the output function here is, here there only we are having the state that shows an output alphabet, but here state with an input alphabet should give an output alphabet. Is it clear to you all what the difference means? There only we are having the outputs for the states, but here we are having an output for the input alphabets. So that's why we're representing an output function like this. State with an input is an output alphabet. Just make a note of this. The difference between the Murray and Mealy machine is only at the output function, but the remaining all are same. For the remaining all 5 tuples, it is same. And when we're checking out the Mealy machine, the output is always represented with each input symbol for each state that is separated by an slash. Right. And now see the examples, then it is very clear to you all. See, this is an example for the Mealy machine. Let's see what the example is for the same question here we're having. And design a Mealy machine for a binary input sequences such that if it has a substring 101, the machine output is A. If the input has substring 110, it outputs B. Otherwise, it outputs C. And this is a question to design a Mealy machine. And before designing the Mealy machine, first what the thing that you need to understand is where to put an output alphabet in Mealy machine, and what's the difference of representing the machines. Difference between the representing of these two machines is, in Murray machine we put the output alphabet at the place of state, right? Just by putting an slash, we put the output alphabet for each and every state. But while coming to the Mealy machine, here we are representing an output alphabet at the input alphabet. That means first we need to write the input, then you need to put slash, and then you need to write the output. Is it clear? And these are the output alphabets: C, C, A, C, B. These are the output alphabets. So this is the way of representing an Mealy machine. Just a simple difference. Q naught with input 1, it goes to Q1, and the output is C. And the output there itself, you need to define the output of each and every state. Not at the Q naught, or not at the Q1, not at the Q2 or Q3 or Q4 or Q5. There with the inputs, you need to show the output, its output. That means when we are checking out the transition mapping function, like state, present state with an present input is an next state and its output. Like that, you need to represent an Mealy machine, right? That means we are designing an Mealy machine for a binary input sequence here. Binary inputs means zeros and ones are the inputs here. So here we're having an strings. What the strings means, when I'm reading with 1 and when I end with an 1, means I need to get an output A, right? When I'm reading an input 1 and when I get an output 0 means I need to get an B. Otherwise, for every any other input string, you can get C. And that's the question here we're having. And for that question, what the solution is. And first of all, we need to check it out the conditions. What the condition is 101 and 110. For these two only we are having the conditions, right? For any other we are not having any condition. So if you get 101 means you need to write an output A. If you get 110 means you need to write an output B, or else wherever if you get any other strings means then you can write C, right? See here. And first I am drawing a transition for 101. 101. And first initially I'm not writing any output alphabets, just I am doing a transition for 101, starting with 1 and ending with 1. So q0 with 1 q1, q1 with 0 q2, q2 with 1 q3. And here if the substring is this means what the output alphabet that you need to write? A. So at the end, at the ending word I am writing an output alphabet A. That means with this word it ends, right? With this word it ends the substring, so I am putting an alphabet A. Same like that I need to check it for 110. So q naught, always we need to start with a starting state like q naught with 1 it is q1, and q1 with 1 here it is in 0, but again I am taking another path with a new state. Q1 with 1 it is in q4, and q4 with 0 it is in q5. So here I am ending with an word 0, right? So just I am putting an output alphabet B. For the remaining all like in 101 you need to put an output C. Is it clear now? I'm having only two conditions. One is where to put an A and where to put an B. For the string of 101, you need to put an A. So when I'm reading the string starts with an 1, 101, this gets end. So I need to put an A. And when I'm reading 110, 110, and this the string substring ends with an 0. So I need to put an B. For the remaining all, I need to put an C, right? And this is an Mealy machine representation, Mealy machine diagram representation. From this Mealy machine diagram representation, and this is an transition table. What the transition table means, here I'm having q0, q1, q2, q3 are the states, and the inputs are 0 and 1. And along with the inputs I need to define the lambda dash. Lambda dash means the output. So q0 with 0 is q0 and the output is C. Q1 with 0 is Q2 and the output is C. And Q2 with 0 is Q0 and the output is C. Q3 with 0 is Q2 and the output is C. Same as with an 1. You need to check it out like that and you need to draw the transition table like this. Right? Is it clear? And here we're having a condition. And for the Moore machine, we're having a condition, right? What the condition is, the output length of the Moore machine is greater than the input length plus 1. But here, while coming to the Mealy machine, the output length of the Mealy machine is equal to the input length. That means if you're taking the input length is n, then the output length should get an n. Right, then it gets satisfied with the condition of the Mealy machine. That means input length is n, then output length is also n. Nothing difference is there. But only in the Moore, if the input is n, then you need to get an output n plus 1. Right, is it clear? And this is about an Mealy machine, the representing the designing of the Mealy machine and the table representation of the Mealy machine, and knowing about what the condition of the Mealy machine and how to get satisfied the input strings by doing the transitions from the by the Mealy machine, right? I think you all understand the two concepts of both Moore machine and the Mealy machine, the formal definition of Moore machine and Mealy machine, and the designing of the machines Moore and Mealy, and representing the transition tables, as well as checking out the acceptance of the both machines. Right? Is it clear? I think you all understand the today's concept. And in the next class, I'm going to explain about the conversions between these two. Conversion from Moore to Mealy and Mealy to Moore. If you have any doubts, you can ask, please. Just do message in the chat box. I'll reply to those questions. Any doubts to anyone? It's very easy of representing the machine, designing the machine and representing in transition tables. Very easy. Nothing complex it is. Only if you know how to write an output alphabet and wherever to write an output alphabet and how to recognize the Murray machine and how to recognize the Mealy machine, means it is enough for you to understand the concept of this Murray and Mealy machines, right? And in the next class I will explain you about the conversions, and today I'm ending this session. Thank you all. We'll meet in the next class.